how do you think about domestic violence? Are you painting everybody with the same brush? It's all about entitlement? Hi, everybody. Steve Halley here with the Family Peace Initiative, and welcome to the Valentine's Day edition of the Facilitator's Tool Chest blog. I can think of no better day to talk about domestic violence than on Valentine's Day. And this blog post, the Facilitator's Tool Chest blog, has been here for, I think, 8 years now. I think actually February is a celebration of 8 years of just little snippets of helping all of us just get better at our craft so that we can help victims of domestic violence, survivors, and children of domestic violence, extended family, to become safer from cruelty inside of their family element. Today I want to talk with you about beliefs and attitudes, and I have to tell you I'm probably treading on some risky ground, but I think that these are conversations that ought to be had in some kind of a forum. And so we'll kick it around here about our beliefs and attitudes in the world of domestic violence. And I tell you, we are focused on our beliefs and attitudes when we're thinking about the people who use cruelty in their relationships. But that's not the beliefs that I want to address today. I want to talk about our beliefs and our attitudes towards those whom we are serving. It's very easy for us to believe certain things about those who batter, about abusive people, abusive men, about violent individuals. And it's easy for us to believe things about them that informs the way we engage with them. It informs the way we try to design our interventions with them. And it informs the way we decide to protect ourselves from them. And I want to talk about that a little bit today. So some of the common beliefs that are out there are, like domestic violence is a choice. There's just a choice that some people make, and that our programs are designed to help them make a different choice. Well, on the surface, that's absolutely true, right? It's this belief that, you just made a choice. You made a cruel choice, and now you have to learn how to do a different choice, right? Except that it's usually not quite that simple, right? The choices are driven by our experiences, are driven by our socialization, are driven by our trauma. There's a host of energies that are driving these choices that suddenly, is it really a choice? Or was it something else going on there? And oversimplifying things, I think it was Albert Einstein who said, keep it simple, but not too simple. And when we just frame it as, domestic violence is a choice, and suddenly it becomes very simple to a complicated process of change. So I'm not sure that belief is always helpful when we're working with those who are intervening. Another belief that we have is this statement that domestic violence is violence against women. Right? Of course it is, right? The vast majority of the victims in domestic violence are women. The vast majority of the perpetrators of domestic violence are men. But it's not always like that. And if we believe it's always like that, then it handicaps us and it disrespects people who don't fit neatly into that category, like the LGBTQ groups, like the women who are violent and cruel in their relationships, a whole host of other circumstances that were domestic violence as a driving force, but it's not necessarily violence against women. But it's important for us to know that domestic violence impacts a tremendous amount of women, and that we have to be tuned into understanding that. But as soon as we believe that that's all domestic violence, then it handicaps us in being able to intervene and being understanding of circumstances that don't fit neatly into that category. The same thing is true when we talk about violence is always about power and control. That's become a very popular mantra, and the power and control wheel, one of the most iconic tools in the world of domestic violence. It's a wonderful tool. has helped us to see all the strategies of domestic violence. Domestic violence can be about desperation and rage, panic, fear, right? It can be driven by a number of factors that aren't necessarily about me desiring power and control, or being willing to, be dominant over my partner. There's many people, especially the survival-based motive, who never feel that they are, in the superior position in relationships. And they're most dangerous when they feel like their life is spinning out of control, that they are losing the very thing that's giving their life meaning and giving their life some type of stability. So that's a little bit of a different power and control effort than those who feel entitled to rule the roost and my way or the highway and everything goes. And if we just frame it as, just look on the power and control wheel and you'll see how all domestic violence is, then we're unintentionally putting victims in danger who do not see their relationship as being victimized by power and control. Many victims of survival-based motive do not think that they're in a domestic violence relationship because they don't see their experience matching up with the power and control wheel. Our belief that the power and control wheel kind of explains all domestic violence is dangerous. But I'm not putting down the power and control wheel because it's a great tool. It helps so many people understand what their situation is. But when we try to put the umbrella over everything, it's dangerous to say all domestic violence is about power and control, because many victims of domestic violence don't experience it that way. And so when we think about this stuff, what are your beliefs? What are the things that drive your behavior inside the room? Are you believing that those who are in your room are just made a choice to be abusive and that they're just cruel and mean people? Or is there something else going on? Are you blaming socialization of boys and how boys were socialized to become, superior to women and demean women and to become violent to women? And by the way, that is unintentionally giving us men a good excuse of why it's not our fault that we're being abusive to women, because it was all about socialization. Now, I don't believe that. I don't believe that there is an excuse for domestic violence at all. But I do have beliefs that I want to share with you that I think drive domestic violence. I believe that everyone, or almost everyone, who uses cruelty in relationships was treated cruelly first in their relationship, in their life. Long before they were cruel to anyone, they experienced cruelty. I believe that. And as I work with people, it informs the way that I engage with them, connect with them, and informs the way I'm going forward. Along with that belief, I believe that as people heal, as people become less afraid of themselves, they become less dangerous to themselves and to their partner. They stop being as cruel to themselves and as cruel to the people that they love. I believe that. And so I believe there is hope for a majority of the people who come into my programs, that they can recover and engage and be a part of a healthy, respectful, more equal relationship if they understand how their life and their path has led them to this point. I believe in the power of change. But I also believe that people have to do some very difficult things. And I believe that the best way to help people move toward that recovery and creating a healthy relationship is through the doorway of their emotional selves, beyond their cover story, into their what we call their sacred ground. Those are things that I believe. Now, like all beliefs, the beliefs that I just shared with you make me vulnerable to people who don't fit in the box neatly into the package that I believe that my beliefs create. And so part of me has to always be on guard for the outliers and the people who are not matching up with what I believe domestic violence is about. Those are things I believe. I would love for you to be able to put your own voice to your beliefs and know How do you think about your work? How do you think about the people you're serving? How do you think about domestic violence? Are you painting everybody with the same brush? It's all about entitlement, right? Are you designing your interventions to address the one problem, and there's a host of other problems potentially in your room that you're ignoring? Pay attention to what you're doing and be courageous to evaluate your own beliefs about your work. That's the road to mastery, is being able to be introspective and examine and can see, oh, maybe there's other things that I'm not as fully aware of or I don't fully understand. You guys can do this, and I appreciate so much your dedication to this work. I love learning with you, and I will look forward to seeing you next month, and we'll do another edition of the Facilitators Tool Just blog. Thanks, you guys. Bye-bye.